Hello everyone, my name is Serafi and I'm happy to meet you all. And today we're going to be playing Beetrooper Ragnaraika. Why are we doing this? Well, because earlier in the month, Decade told us that Battle Wasps were coming out. And he was wrong. So rather than get egg on his face, Decade claims, well, my source is still right. You're still getting Battle Wasps. There's actually going to be 2 packs released in June. Skeptical. But Decade does have a pretty good source. Every other prediction he's made recently has come true. So I want it to be true enough that I'm going to go ahead and prepare for it. So I needed to learn all of the insect combos that were currently available. So I played this deck and I'm having a lot of fun with it. So for the hand traps, we are playing 1 copy of Effect Veiler, 2 copies of Maxx, which you can search, 1 copy of Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, which is really good against Fiendsmith, 2 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Springs, 1 Imperm, and then in addition to that, you have 2 other weird hand traps. One of them is called Retaliating Sea. What this card does is when your opponent activates a spell card that includes an effect that special summons a monster, which is basically any fusion spell, you can special summon this card from your hand. If this card is summoned this way, while this card is face up on the field, any card sent to the graveyard is banished instead. So you chain this to your branded fusion, and your opponent mills all their cards, and all their cards are banished. They summon their Lubellion, or not their Lubellion, their Albion, because they always start the combo with Albion. And now they can't, if they activate Albion's effect, they're going to banish a monster from their hand, and then Lubellion, probably that will end up, like, they won't even realize that what they've done because they don't realize there's a Macrocosmos. They'll probably end up being forced to turn their Lubellion, or their Albion into Grand Guignol because they have Cartesia in hand, and then they just ruin their entire day. And then also Cartesia gets banished, which is insane. That's very good for you. Or if they do have Fallen of Albaz in their hand, then they'll use Fallen of Albaz and the Albion in order to make Lubellion, and then they'll have to discard a card. Lubellion will get to stay on the field because they'll be able to shuffle Albion back to make Mirror Jade, but they will be down like an extra card from their hand, and their graveyard will be in tatters. So that's very funny. Actually, I bet that if you use this against Branded, they would probably... No, wait, no. This says, while this card's on the field, any card sent to the graveyard is banished instead. This actually shuts off Mirror Jade, because Mirror Jade has to send a monster from the extract to the graveyard for cost, and you can't do that under Retaliating Sea. So that's really funny, actually. Really good hand trap. Very good against, specifically Azumina, which we will see in the replay. And then the other weird hand trap is Beetrooper Stinglancer. During the main phase, as a quick effect, you can target 1 insect monster in your graveyard and 1 monster in your opponent's graveyard. Special summon this card from your hand. If you do, place a targeted monster on the bottom of the deck. If you this card's normal or special summon, you can add a Beetrooper spell trap from your deck to your hand. So what is this? Well, this card lets you shuffle one of your opponent's cards in their graveyard back into their deck, which can be very good against Fiendsmith, because Fiendsmith really needs Engraver in their graveyard. Now, what insect monster might you have in your graveyard during your opponent's first turn? Let me tell you, that monster is called Maxx. Now, you might think, what happens if my Maxx gets called by? Well, I'm glad you asked that question. Here's what you can do. You can actually wait until your opponent has 1 card in their graveyard, a monster that you could target. Then you can Maxx, and then if your opponent called bys your Maxx, you can respond to the called by targeting Maxx with your Beetrooper Stinglancer. And since Stinglancer shuffles Maxx back into your deck, it can't be banished by called by, so that means that called by fizzles and your Maxx is resolving. Very, very funny interactions. This is a really interesting deck when you're going second. Okay. So those are the hand traps. Let's talk about the Ragnaraika package. So first up, we have Ragnaraika the Evil Seed. This is a level 1 Earth Plant monster. It has 0 attack points and 0 defense points. You can special summon this card from your hand by sending 1 insect, plant, or reptile monster from your hand to the graveyard. You can only special summon Ragnaraika the Evil Seed once per turn this way. If this card is normal or special summon, you can add to your hand up to 2 different Ragnaraika cards of yours that are banished and or in your deck, except Ragnaraka the Evil Seed, then banish 1 card from your hand. Also, you cannot special summon for the rest of the turn except insect, plant, or reptile monsters. You can only use this effect once per turn. So, if you use Ragnaraka the Evil Seed, you are locking yourself out of your Appaloosa, which is important. But Appaloosa is more for if you don't have access to the Ragnaraka line to give you a better end board than you otherwise would have had. Ragnaraka, if you have it, is going to build you a better end board than Appaloosa anyway. This is a very good card, and what you add it with is you will add your Ragnaraika Samurai Beetle, which is a level 3 light insect monster with 1500 attack points. You can special summon this card from your hand by placing one of your banished insect, plant, or reptile monsters on the bottom of your main deck. You can only special summon Samurai Beetle once per turn this way. If this card is sent to the graveyard as material for a Ragnaraka Link monster, you can target 1 level 4 or lower insect, plant, or reptile monster in your graveyard, except Samurai Beetle, and special summon it in defense position. You can only use this effect once per turn. Very, very good effect. Of course, the inherent special summon means that your opponent can't respond to it, which is fantastic. And then the other card you're going to add is Ragnaraka Wicked Butterfly, which is a level 4 Earth Insect with 1800 attack points. You can discard this card, special summon 1 insect, plant, or reptile monster from your hand. If this card is banished from the hand or the graveyard, you can draw cards during the end phase of this turn equal to the number of different monster types among monsters you control that are insect, plant, or reptile. You can only use this effect once per turn. So Wicked Butterfly is your banish card. When you add with Evil Seed, it's a target for your Samurai Beetle, and also it draws you a card at the end of the turn. So she replaces herself, which is, you know, drawing a card's not nothing. You might get a hand trap. Good enough. Maybe you get Maxx and you draw like 8 cards. So, yeah, solid. The last Ragnaraika card in the main deck is Ragnaraika Bloom. Insect, plant, and reptile monsters on the field gain 300 attack and defense points. All other monsters lose 300 attack and defense points. During your main phase, you can activate one of these effects, add 1 Ragnaraka monster from your deck to your hand, then discard a card, or special summon a Ragnaraka monster from your hand, graveyard, or banishment in defense position. You can only use this effect once per turn. So this does mean that you can't summon Link monsters, of course, because you're summoning in defense position, but this card does let you easily get your Evil Seed, which is why it has 3 Evil Seeds on the artwork, and then you just pop off. The interesting thing about this card is that since it gives your monsters 300 attack and defense, it actually turns off your Invincible Atlas's protection. I don't know why they did that. I guess they planned for these 2 decks to be used together and they wanted to make them weaker, but I don't see the point of that. Regardless, it's an interesting card nonetheless, and it's only a super rare, which is nice because it's a really good search. All right, next up we have the Ragnaraika Extra deck. We have 3 monsters. The first one is Ragnaraika Skeletal Soldier. This is a Link 2 with 1600 attack points. It requires 2 monsters, including at least 1 insect, plant, or reptile monster. It's a plant. You can target 1 Ragnaraka monster in your graveyard and special summon it in defense position. If this card is in your graveyard, you can target 1 plant, insect, or reptile monster you control, place it on the bottom of your deck, and if you do, special summon this card. You can only use each effect of Ragnaraka Skeletal Soldier once per turn. Also, you cannot special summon during the turn you activate either of this card's effects, except insect, plant, or reptile monsters. Not a big deal, since you already locked yourself by using your Evil Seed. So, just know that, you know, when you use the Ragnaraika package, you are cut off. It's insects and plants, and that's all you got, which is perfectly fine. The Link 3 is also very good. I'm really surprised this card isn't an Ultra, because it's very solid in its applications. Ragnaraika Mantis Monk. It requires at least 2 monsters, including an insect, plant, or reptile monster. You can banish 2 insects, plants, or reptile monsters from your graveyard to add 1 Ragnaraika trap from your deck to your hand. It's important to note this card does not add spells or traps, only traps, and we're only playing 1 trap, which is our Hunting Dance. So because of that, Ragnaraika Mantis Monk, if you open the Hunting Dance, can't use its effect to banish from graveyard, which can really hurt you if you need to banish your Resonance Insect. So keep that in mind. If this card is in your graveyard, you can target 1 insect, plant, or reptile you control, place it on the bottom of your deck. If you do special summon this card, also you can't special summon for the rest of the turn except insect, plant, or reptile monsters. So this is like a common thing with the Ragnaraka links, is that they can replace other monsters, which is very good for the Link 2 and the Link 3 because it lets you link climb more efficiently. The last monster from the X deck is Ragnaraka Stag Sovereign, which requires, it's a Link 5 that requires 2 or more insect, plant, and or reptile monsters. which is really nice, because in particular, it means that you can make this with Invincible Atlas and any monster. So it's a Link 5, but it doesn't require 3 monsters, which is really, really good. If a monster is special summoned from your opponent's deck or extra deck except during the damage step, you can destroy 2 monsters on the field. So you get to destroy 2 cards on your opponent's field, or 2 monsters. You don't target. It is not up to 2, it is 2. So if your opponent only has 1 monster and you need to destroy it, you will have to destroy one of your own monsters, but it's a very good effect. Really, really solid. Your opponent will usually summon, like, if they summon from the deck, they'll usually have another monster on the field. If they summon from the extra deck, they might have another monster on the field. You could wait until they summon 2 monsters from the extra deck. You know, you have options. So this card's really, really strong. And if this card's in your graveyard, you can target an insect, plant, or reptile placed on the bottom of the deck. If you do special summon this card, then you're locked. That effect is insane. Getting a Link 5 back from your graveyard every single turn is crazy. Remember, these cards do not banish themselves when they leave the field when they use this effect. You can cycle your Stag Sovereign every single turn. It's got 300 attack points. It's a pretty solid card to get every single turn. So you got great grind game. And then the last card is the card I just referenced, which is the Ragnaraika Hunting Dance. It's a trap card. Target card your opponent controls up the number of different monster types among the Link monsters you control that are insect, plant, or reptile, and destroy them. We are only playing insect links other than the Stag Sovereign and Skeletal Soldier, and Skeletal Soldier is not part of your end board, so it's a pop 1. If a face-up insect, plant, or reptile monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect while this card is in your graveyard, except the turn it was sent there, you can banish this card, then target 1 monster your opponent controls and destroy it. Who cares? Yeah, the first effect, it's a searchable pop. Second effect is, hey, if the game goes on, you have another pop. Whatever. I like it. Good card. All right, that's the Ragnarika stuff. Now let's take a look at the Beetrooper stuff. So we have the Beetrooper Scout Buggy, which is a level 3 wind insect monster. It's important to note that most of the Beetrooper cards lock you into insects while they're on the field, which is really annoying, actually. It makes it awkward to combine with the Evil Seed in particular. Evil Seed is the only non insect main deck monster that you want to special summon, but it's very important that you get it on the field when you need it to. So if you have one of your Beetroopers on the field that locks you, it can really hurt you. If this card is normal or special summon, you can summon 1 Beetrooper Scout Buggy from your hand, deck, or graveyard. So this is, it gets you 2 3s, which can either be your Armor Horn for a Link 2, which gives you another normal summon, or it can be Cicada King. And Cicada King is a negate that also revives your Scary Moth, so this card is really, really good. We only need 2 copies of it, and it's just part of both of your combos. Next up, we have Beetrooper Scale Bomber. This is a level 3 fire monster. If an insect monster is normal or special summoned to your field, you can special summon this card from your hand. When a monster your opponent controls activates effects, you contribute an insect monster to destroy it. You can only use each effect once per turn. Okay, so it doesn't negate, but it does pop the monster when it activates its effect, which could be a negate depending on what its effect is. So, solid card. Good enough. And it's a great extender. Then we have the Sting Lancer, which I've already explained how you can use this card, but the primary benefit of it is that it adds a Beetrooper spell or trap from your deck to your hand, which is going to be typically your Beetrooper Landing, which is a fusion spell. Fusion summon an insect fusion monster from your deck using monsters from your hand or field as material. If this card is in your graveyard except the turn it was sent there, you can banish 2 insect monsters from your graveyard to add this card to your hand. You can only use this effect once per turn. You don't have multiple targets for Beetrooper Landing, but the ability to banish it from the graveyard to add it back to your hand means that you could trigger things like Resonance Insect, which could be very good for you. You have Mighty Neptune, which is cannot be normal summoned or set, must be a special summon from your hand by shuffling 3 of your banished insect monsters into the main deck. That's really good. One of the things you're going to find when you play this deck is that you run out of cards a lot. So Mighty Neptune, taking your 3 Resonance Insects and putting them back in your deck is very, very useful. During the main phase, if this card in its owner's control is destroyed or banished by an opponent's card effect, you can special summon this card. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you destroy my heavy Beetrooper Mighty Neptune? Well, would it be a shame if it came right back, even if you banished it? That is Tearlament's Kaleido Heart levels of annoying, because it has the same stats. So, very, very good effect. You can only use this effect once per turn. Once per turn during the end phase, you can target 1 other insect monster you control, and it gains 1,000 attack points permanently. Good. Good effect. Other than that, we have the Beetrooper Formation, which is a field spell. You can target one Beetrooper monster in your graveyard, special summon it, but it cannot attack this turn. Also, you lose life points equal to its original attack points. And if a face-up insect monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon one Beetrooper token, which has 1,000 attack and defense points. Cool. Good effect. Lastly, for the main deck, we have Beetrooper Flying Sting. This is a counter trap card that you can search with your Sting Lancer or your Cruel Saturnus. When your opponent activates a monster effect while you control a Beetrooper monster, negate the activation if you do destroy the card. During your end phase, if this card is in your graveyard and you control an insect monster with 3,000 or more attack points, you can banish an insect from your graveyard to set this card. You can only use one Flying Sting effect per turn, and only once that turn. Okay, so during your opponent's turn, it's a counter trap, and during your turn, it sets itself back. And it does not banish itself when it leaves the field. So you can do this over and over and over again. And counter trap cards are very good for negating monster effects because you can't respond to them unless you have your own counter trap. So unless they have red reboot, they lose. Very good card. Searchable counter traps are insane. Alright. Then for the extra deck, we have Beetrooper Cruel Saturnus. Requires one Beetrooper monster plus one insect monster. 2,400 attack, 2,000 defense. You cannot special summon monsters except insects. Oof. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. If this card is special summoned, you can add a Beetrooper card from your deck to your hand. And if an insect monster is banished face up, you can target one of your banished Beetrooper monsters and special summon it. Both of these effects are very, very useful. Good card. It's also dark for some reason. I suppose because it's cruel. I will cover Cicada King as part of the Beetrooper package because you only make it with Beetroopers. This is a rank 3 Wind Xyz monster with requires 2 level 3s. If the battle position of this card has changed, you can special summon one insect monster from your hand or graveyard in defense position. When a monster on the field activates its effect, you can attach one material from this card, target that monster, negate its effects, then make one insect monster on the field either gain 500 defense points permanently or change its battle position. You can only use each effect once per turn. Okay, so the effects are out of order, but basically you are going to get a monster negate, then you change your Cicada King from attack to defense, and when you do that, your Cicada King revives an insect monster from your graveyard, which cannot be a link monster since it has to go in defense position, and you will usually get back your Scary Moth, and that will prevent your opponent from special summoning monsters. Very funny. Then we have the Beetrooper Armor Horn. We are playing 2 copies of this. This is a Link 2, requires 2 insect monsters. You cannot special summon except insects. During your main phase, you can immediately after this effect resolves, normal summon an insect. And if this card is in your graveyard, you can banish 3 other insects from your graveyard, special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. Very, very good effect. Being able to revive a Link 2 is excellent for your Link climbs, so solid. Then lastly, we have the Giant Beetrooper Invincible Atlas, which is a Link 4 that requires 2 or more Link monsters with 3,000 attack points. While this Link Summon card has 3,000 or less attack, your opponent cannot target this card with card effects, and it can't be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. You cannot special summon monsters except insects. You contribute 1 insect to activate one of these effects, special summon a Beetrooper from your deck, or this card gains 2,000 attack points until the end of this turn. You can only use this effect once per turn. Okay, so this card is the... We have to play this card because we have Krawler Soma in the deck, which is an extender that gives us 3 bodies, but it has to book one of our monsters face down. And the way that you can use a face down monster on your field is by attributing it to summon something else. So, Invincible Atlas makes sure that we don't go minus when we use Krawler Soma's effect, which is very, very strong. Speaking of Krawler Soma, that's our next package. So we have Crawlers. Krawler Spine, level 2, 300 attack, 2,100 defense. Flip, you can target a monster on the field and destroy it. Cool. Next up, we have Krawler Axon, level 2, 500 attack, 1,800 defense. Flip, you can target a spell or trap on the field and destroy it. Okay, so why do we play these cards? They're both insects and they're both level 2, which means that we can use them with this card, which is insane. Krawler Soma, level 6. That means that you can search it with Resonance Insect. 2,000 attack, 2,500 defense. That means that you can make your ultimate great insect with it. You can target one face-up monster you control. Special summon this card from your hand. If you do, change the targeted monster to face-down defense position. Also, it cannot change its battle position for the rest of the turn. During your main phase, you can reduce this card's level by 2 or by 4. If you do, special summon Krawler monsters with different names from your hand, deck, or graveyard, whose total levels equal the amount reduced in face-up attack or face-up or face-down defense position. You can only use this effect once per turn. So you make Krawler Soma level 2, you summon 2 level 2s from the deck, and then you have a Link 3 right there. Very, very powerful effect. Good card. And it's searchable, so we can play it at 1. Okay, that is everything for the hand traps and for the Ragnaraika and for the Beetroopers and for the Crawlers. So now we cover the rest. Battle Wasp Pin the Bullseye. Level 1 Wind Insect Monster. If you control an insect, you can special summon this card from your hand. During your main phase, you can inflict 200 damage to your opponents for each Pin the Bullseye you control. So, pricks your opponent. This is just an extender so that we can use our non-Ragnaraika combo, which requires Resonance Insect plus any extender. Next up, we have the Goki Pull. We are playing one copy of this. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add one level 4 insect monster from your deck to your hand. Then if you added a normal monster, you can special summon it, then you can destroy one monster on the field with great attack greater than or equal to the special summon monsters. We are absolutely going to do that when we get Battle Wasps, but for right now, that effect is not necessary. Then we are going to be using our Praying Mantis. This is a level 4 wind insect monster. Once per turn, when your opponent's monster activates an attack, you can... Once per turn, when your opponent's monster declares an attack, you can send one card from your spawn trap zone to the graveyard, return that opponent's monster to the hand. What? That's stupid. You can only use each of the following effects of Praying Mantis just once per turn. During your standby phase, you can special summon a Baby Mantis token. You can banish this card from your graveyard, special summon a Baby Mantis token. Baby Mantis token is an insect monster. Cool. So we mill this card with our Goki Pull, and then we banish it to get an extender. Very, very useful. Next up, we have 3 copies of Resonance Insect. This card is insane. It's a level 4 Earth Insect monster with 1,000 attack points and 700 defense points. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add one level 5 or higher insect monster from your deck to your hand. If this card is banished, you can send one insect from your deck to the graveyard, except Resonance Insect. Neither of these effects is 1 per turn, so you have 3 draws and 3 mills. Is that good? That's insane. We would play this card like this would be our entire deck if we could make it. Next up, we have Retaliating Sea. I've explained what this card does, except I forgot to mention that if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add an Earth Insect monster with 1,500 or less attack from your deck to your hand, except Retaliating Sea. So that will either add you Resonance Insect, or it can also add you Maxx. So if you want to draw Maxx and use it during your opponent's turn, it's a good card. We have Primitive Butterfly. If you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand, which is another extender for the non-Ragnaraika combo. Scary Moth. Each player can only special summon a monster once per turn. Has no ways to cheat itself out, but you can. There's nothing stopping you from cheating it out. Very, very interesting card. I like it a lot. Just Winda, but in insects. Doomdozer cannot be normal summoned or set. Must be special summoned from your hand by banishing 2 insect monsters from your graveyard. If this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, send the top card of their deck to the graveyard. I don't know about any of you guys, but this card was a beast when I was a kid. 2,800 attack points, just that you could just summon. This card was like, it was a very cheap and accessible version of Blackluster Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning, which was like the very powerful Chaos monster that had 3,000 attack points and could like attack twice. This card wasn't that powerful, but 2 insects was a lot more, flexible than a light and a dark. So, and Doomdozer, again, was like very, very cheap when you compare it to how much Blackluster Soldier was when it released. So for a kid, this card was one of your fast ace monsters back when we still had tribute summoning. So I love this card, and I'm so glad this card is still playable. Beargrim, Shield Emperor of the Forest Crown. This card is insane. This is basically Doomdozer's Retrain. 3,400 attack, 2,800 defense. Must be special summoned from your hand or graveyard by banishing 3 insects or plants from your hand and or graveyard. You can only special summon it once per turn. Your opponent can activate monster effects in response to your spell and trap cards effects, your spell and trap card activations, or their effects activations, which is disgusting. Someone make lab insects. Once per turn, during your main phase, you can destroy all face-up monsters on the field except insects and plants. Also, this card cannot attack directly for the rest of the turn. Hilarious. A very, very good Ragnaraika card, to be honest. That's everything for the main deck, and then for the extra, we have Ultimate Great Insect. 3,000 attack, 2,600 defense. Requires 1 level 8 insect plus 1 level 7 insect monster. You can only special summon Ultimate Great Insect once per turn. Must either be fusion summoned or special summoned from your extra deck by attributing 1 insect monster with 2,000 or more defense equipped with an equipped card. Cannot be destroyed by battle. Once per turn during the battle phase, if a face-up card is in either player's field zone as a quick effect, you can destroy all monsters your opponent controls. So the main reason we are playing this card is because we can tribute our Krawler Soma equipped with Resonance Insect to summon this, which then triggers the effect of Resonance Insect so that we can add another monster and then potentially mill without needing to summon Resonance Insect to the field. So it's a very efficient way to get more draws. And then Ultimate Great Insect itself is a 3000 attack beater that can't be destroyed by battle, and if your opponent happens to activate a field spell, you can just surprise them by blowing it up. It's also level 9, which means that we can make Hyperiton with it, which is part of the combo. Speaking of Hyperiton, Sacred Tree Beast Hyperiton, 2 level 9s, 2600 attack, 1900 defense. During your turn, when you activate a card or effect, you can target one card of the same type in your graveyard and attach it to this card as material. And then during your opponent's turn, when a card or effect is activated, you can attach one material of the same type from this card. If you do, negate the activation, and if you do that, destroy that card. You can only use each effect once per turn. So Hyperiton is very important because we can attach the Beetrooper landing from our graveyard to it, which gives us a spell negate. And that is the only way we get a spell negate in this deck. So if we are worried about our opponents Raigeking us, then this is the way to deal with it. Salamangreat Almirage, which just sends Resonance Insect from the field to the graveyard. Insector Picofelina, 2 insects, link 2, dark, 1000 attack points. If this card is link summoned, you can discard one card, target one other insect monster you control, equip an insect from your deck as an equip spell that gives this effect, 500 attack and defense. You can target 3 insects in your graveyard, shuffle them into the deck, then draw 1 card. You can only use each effect once per turn. Good card, gets you Resonance Insects so that you can make your Great Insect and draw cards. Seraphim Papillion, link 3 requires 2 or more insects with different names, or 2 or more monsters with different names. Gains 300 attack for each counter on it. You can only use each of the following effects. You can only use 1 effect per turn and only once that turn. If this card is link summoned, place 1 counter on this card for each insect monster uses the link material. And as a quick effect, you can remove 1 counter from this card to special summon 1 level 4 or lower insect monster from your graveyard in defense position. So this card cannot revive Scary Moth because Scary Moth is level 6. And it can't use its effect the same turn that it's summoned, which is really, really bad, and I really, really hate it. This is not Selene. This is a ridiculously weak version of Selene, and Selene is for a better type of monster, so I don't know why. I guess they just learned from Selene, and they decided that they needed to make Selene manageable for insects, but ban Selene in that case. Anyway. It's just a good way to get your Beetroopers off the field because your Beetroopers insect lock you, and you don't want to be insect locked all the time. So take your Armor Horn and your Cruel Saturnus and make them into Papillion. You get a revive for it, your efforts, and then you're not insect locked anymore. And then the last card in the deck is Appaloosa, which is Link 2 that has 600 attack points and negates 2 monster effects. Okay, that's it for the deck. Let's take a look at the replay. So normally in the deck guide, I would show you guys a fun replay about me going first, kind of show you guys the combo, how you can stop certain decks. But since I'm making a combo guide this time, I already kind of do that. So instead, I'm going to show you a fun way to go second. So we're going second against Azamina. Our opponent is going to pitch Ghost Ogre to summon Diabolstar the Black Witch and immediately use this effect. They set from deck, which means we can't Ash. And then they're going to normal summon Sylvie and use its effect. We are going to Ash that. So we have a negate. The opponent is then going to activate Tales of the White Forest to add an illusion spellcaster. So they add LZ, pitch, special summon itself, and then synchro with the Sylvie into the Roselia. And that adds the Sinful Spoil Slumber from deck to hand. Then the opponent is going to activate Deception, and they're going to use the effect Tribute to add the Hallowed Azamina. Now they activate Hallowed Azamina, which will fusion summon a monster. That special summons a monster. It's a spell card that special summons a monster. So we're going to chain Retaliating Sea. So we special summon our Retaliating Sea. Our opponent is going to reveal an Azamina fusion monster in the extra deck, and for every 4 levels it has, send 1 Sinful Spoil spell card from your hand and or field to the graveyard, then special summon that revealed monster. This is treated as a fusion summon. So we summon the Retaliating Sea. The opponent then reveals their Azamina monster. They then send the Deception card to the graveyard, which gets banished because of the effect of Retaliating Sea. If it's summoned this way while this card is face up on the field, any card set to the graveyard is banished instead. That also sends Hallowed Azamina to banishment. Then, since the card was not sent to the graveyard, even though that was the cost of the effect, you don't fusion summon. And Hallowed Azamina's effect to return itself in order to use its effect multiple times triggers from the graveyard. So because Hallowed Azamina was banished, they can't recycle it either. So they gave up 2 cards to do nothing, and now they're banished, and now they can't cycle Azumina anymore. This card that they spent all this effort summoning, they just have a level 6 tuner monster for their trouble. And since I summoned Retaliating Sea, which is an insect monster, I can now activate the effect of Scale Bomber from my hand and special summon this card during their first turn as well, which means that if they activate a monster effect, I can tribute it to destroy that monster and banish it so they concede. There you go. Turn 0 win with the insect cards. Very, very funny. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. My name is Serafi, and I was thrilled to have all of you with me.